Hey, this is Alison. Welcome to the Because I Can Life podcast and welcome into February. Yes, February is here. Now, I actually specifically and strategically put this podcast in February for you. And the reason why is because over the last almost 10 years, yes, I can't believe I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary of being in e-commerce, I've always found that February tends to be a little bit lower of a sales month. It just has happened to me. Anyway, I was mentioning that the ebbs and flows of e-commerce, and Megan Pyra, you may know her, she's one of our pro coaches, she's amazing, actually took that as a challenge and decided to make last year's February one of her best months. And I love that she did that because she saw, okay, this is what's normal. I'm going to make it unnormal. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to make those sales and have a fantastic February. And she did. So part of me wants to dedicate this podcast of inspiration to Megan, Coach Megan Pyra, because it's such a great reminder of what is happening in the world, what's going on in e-commerce, whatever business. Guess what? You get to beat your own drum. If you want to make February the best month ever, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. And so why I put this interview at this time is because we're going to help you make more money. How does that sound? I know it's not just an inspirational story, but let's actually do something about it so you can make February your highest sales month ever. And so what I did is I brought in a good friend of mine, Brian Bowman. Now, you'll probably be seeing a little bit more of him. And the reason why, we have been friends in the e-commerce space for about 4 years. And Brian and I have gotten to know each other pretty well. He's good friends with my husband, Jared. And he started asking like how I did e-commerce and how I built my businesses. And I said, I've done influencer marketing and I've had really good success. We haven't paid Facebook ads. And he's like, what? You built that big of a business without Facebook ads? And I was like, yep, kind of as my badge of honor, right? And so he started asking about influencer marketing. And I'm like, Brian, tell me a little bit more about yours. And he's really big into Facebook marketing. And as I'm going along in the program, I'm noticing some of my students start looking into Facebook ads. And there's a saying that we talk about quite a bit, Brian and I do, about friends don't let friends hit the boost button on Facebook because we think it's like a direct line into Mark Zuckerberg's wallet. That boost button on Facebook ads don't work. Anyway, so I was talking to Brian, and if you're in the 0 to 100K system, you already know about him. We did a surprise for you. Yes, we constantly update that. I constantly over deliver in that program. It is so good. If you're not in there, here's a little nudge right here. But Brian came in and talked about the basics of Facebook ads because we want to protect you from Facebook ads. We had a gal come in. This was in the summer, and she said, Alison, I was doing really well with influencers, and then I started to venture into Facebook ads. She ended up spending over $30,000 in Facebook ads and didn't make any money. And it was at that point that I'm like, all right, I wonder how we can get Brian Bowman to come in and talk a little bit about Facebook ads to protect you from that side of the business. Facebook ads can be amazing, but they can also burn you as they really, it's like the Wild West over there. You've got to know what you're doing and you've got to have someone that can lead you. Anyway, so in the 0 to 100K system, you've already got an amazing bonus section from Brian in there. Dive in there. It was a free gift. It wasn't a free gift. It's an amazing, I say free and then you won't do anything with it. Like there's so much value to it. So much value to it. Dive in there and listen to that. And then for everybody else listening, we wanted to bring you the gift of making money. We thought, all right, so what can we do to help the students in the 0 to 100K system make more money in February? And so what we did is I brought him on, we did a podcast interview that I'm about to get you into about the top Shopify apps that you should have on your site to help you to be able to collect more money, put that money in your pocket where it belongs, and ultimately serving your customers, right? Because serving more customers at a higher level, get you more money, and we all like money, and I want you to have more of it. So today's podcast is diving into what you can do right now, today in February, to grow your numbers by using some of our favorite Shopify apps. Now, you're going to need to get a piece of paper and a pencil ready because there's a handful and you're not going to be able to remember them. But at the end, I'm going to go over my top 10 takeaways like I always do, and I'll go over them so you don't miss any of them because they are gold, literally gold. I hope you enjoy this week's podcast episode, and I cannot wait to hear that you crushed your February. Let's do it. Why not? Why not? Pro Coach Megan led the example. It's your turn next. Let's dive into this. Brian Bowman.
Hey.
I'm so excited you're here.
I'm excited to be here. I listen, I never put notes together for interviews and stuff. I just kind of know what I'm going to talk about. I'm like, all right, let's go. I sat down last night for like an hour and I put together, I got a little, like I have a structure to how we're going to talk about this. I'm excited.
I'm so excited. Oh, thank you. Thanks for taking the time away from your dogs and your wife to sketch out some plans for us.
Thank you, Alison, for giving me a reason to have to lock myself in this room. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So, Brian, you're an expert with e-commerce. How long have you been selling e-commerce?
I mean, technically like e-commerce selling stuff online.
Yeah.
Because I started doing like retail arbitrage 15 years ago. So like flipping everything from books. I started with books. I think a lot of people started with books, but I started with books, like university, like textbooks. Mm-hmm. And anyway, there's a whole lesson there I can talk about later, but I started there. I started flipping vintage furniture, which is awesome.
Did you do it on eBay?
eBay and Amazon. Okay. But the furniture was all on eBay. And, but anyway, so I started back then, but I would say like e-commerce with like our own products and things. It's been about 10 years. So,
okay.
And then the last 5 years has been like 100% of our focus.
Nice. So we're about the same. I started about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I didn't do eBay. I don't think I've sold anything on eBay yet.
eBay it's really interesting. So real quick, it was the first lesson for me on like psychographics, like that there's demographics of people.
That's such a nerdy word.
I know. It's such a nerdy. I promised myself, Alison, I promised myself, I'm not going to use a bunch of nerdy words, but
I'm
such a nerd. So anyway, so there's demographics, right? Where people live, their age, gender, did they get a degree or not? Then there's psychographics, which are like in their head, like, where are they? Are they frustrated? Are they, are like basically, what is it? So with the textbooks, they're a student, they don't have a lot of money, but they just got to make sure that they get a newer edition of the book. Doesn't have to be the newest one. So they're willing to sacrifice the newest edition if it saves them 80% or whatever, right? Those are like psychographics. And I realized there's also this different buyer on eBay and Amazon. Because I would literally, and that's when I learned that people tie to certain platforms. Like that's what they like. So I learned that I could take a book, and I don't know if this still works, but back in the day, I would find a book on eBay for $5, literally $5, take it, list it on Amazon for $55, and it would sell like that.
Wow.
And I was like, that's the weirdest thing, because they could go to eBay and get the book like I did. But there was just some people that they didn't trust eBay, right? They wanted to buy on Amazon. They're willing to pay a premium. So I learned that like the design of a site and the comfort that people have, like all these things can influence why some people buy and some people don't. And anyway, it was.
Well, I think it still works today, right? When we just sold our pillowcase business in September, right?
Yeah, that was so cool.
I know, so such a fun win. But on some sites, we could charge double what we charge on other sites. So it still works today. You just got to know the site that you're selling.
You got to know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People, I mean, human behavior like doesn't change. It expresses itself differently, right? Like it manifests differently, but it doesn't change.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. Okay. So 5 years ago, you jump into e-commerce full time.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about why? Like what was the trigger point for you?
So
And when you say, okay, wait, we gotta clarify this. So you were in e-commerce. You've been in e-commerce for a long time. So what do you mean like 5 years ago it changed?
so we're in, so actually it was 6 years ago. So what happened was I was always doing it as like a side hustle. So I had, long story. I won't give you my whole backstory. The story is getting longer as the years go by, right? So like it used to be 5 years ago. Now it's like 15. Like it's getting it's getting older. But basically, I'd always done my own thing. So like even in high school, like the books I was reading were about like mindset and like entrepreneurship. And I was always saying like, I'm not even going to go to college. I'm going to be a business person. And I tried that for a while. Then I went back to school and I started college. I couldn't stand it. Like I literally could not do it as much. It's really interesting because as much as I love to read and stuff now, I could not stand being in a classroom, sitting down. I had way too much energy. So I dropped out way more times than I want to admit. Like seriously, this is why the whole thing about me, you don't know, Alison. And I started my first like big legitimate business. It did really well. Then I actually pursued a career in professional golf because I was like chasing my passion, you know. But ultimately, I did go back to school, get my degree, got a degree in math, and became an actuary. And on the side, I always had like a side hustle because I was hungry for that, right? So we would supplement our income by doing these things on the side. Then I was a consultant as an actuary, traveling all over the country, working insane hours. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, there's no way I'm going to live my life like this. I still have options, and I'd rather live more curious than afraid. That was like my thought. So the side hustle kept getting, it was doing well. Like it was supplementing a pretty good chunk of our income, but I just wanted to go hard and like see like can I actually quit my day job and like do this full time. That's what I did. That was my mission. But it was a lot of things. One, freedom. Like I think I had that in me already where I want to do my own thing. And there's no way I could see myself for the next 40 years just working for a big nameless, like faceless corporation. And we were having some challenges at home with like my wife's health and things. So I was kind of seeing like down the road that we were going to need more money. Like things had to change. So there's a few things motivating me. But ultimately, yeah, that was it. So 6 years ago was when I made the switch full time, where I had gotten to the point where my side hustle income was actually making me more than my day job. And there's a whole story on how I transitioned there. But ultimately, yeah, I just made the leap and haven't looked back.
Okay. So when you were there, were you selling on Amazon mainly?
Yeah. So we were still doing like the retail arbitrage, or I guess online arb. But we started building, a private label brand on Amazon. That's where we started.
Okay. And then you didn't stay on Amazon for a long time, right?
No, we did. I mean, we had the brand, we built it up, it was like, it was a multiple, like 7-figure brand. It was doing really well. But then we ran into the Amazon issues where, competitors.
Smackdown.
Yeah. If you're listening to this and you sell on Amazon, you know what I'm talking about. And it was, just black hat competitors. Like, they come in, they leave all these negative reviews, they report you. Your listings get shut down, and it's just, it's tough. Like Dan Kennedy always says, if you don't have a customer list, like you don't have a business. And ultimately that was the single point of failure in our business that, we all have to be mindful of that. Alison and I, we were talking about this before we started the show. It's not so much about the brilliant things you do. It's like the dumb tax that you don't pay. It's avoiding kind of like the stupid mistakes, right? And we all make them. And a lot of times it's just trying to look out into the future and like, what are the things to avoid? And this is one of those things that we didn't realize it was such a liability in our business, was that we had this single point of failure, that if this platform said, no, you're not going to sell anymore, or you know what, there's something going on, we don't know. And you and this other person who's saying that you're infringing on something, like you guys figure it out, even though they're totally making it up and they have no proof. The platform's like, we don't want any part of it. So you guys figure it out. When they say it's okay, then you can keep selling. Well, good luck.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's like a single point of failure. And when that happened, I mean, I still remember like checking my sale, wake up Tuesday morning, like, oh, more sales, right? And it's like, that number's a lot lower than than usual. And yeah, so that's what then prompted us to really understand and build out the off marketplace business.
That is actually what I want to dive into today.
Yeah.
So is the Shopify, because I know there's a lot of people who get started on Amazon and then they realize, oh my gosh, I'm basically an employee for Amazon.
Yep.
And I have no list, no business. They can shut me down at any time. And so I think that's why I'm such a big advocate, proponent, like start on your own platform, make your own rules. And then if you want to create additional income, sure, go to Amazon, go to eBay. But you got to have a home base. You got to build that boat on your own land or in your own lake.
You can do both. And there's a halo effect. We see it all the time where I have tons of, you have tons of success stories too. And like, I have tons of success stories in our program, like how people were on Amazon and diversified off. And as they started growing their off Amazon business or whether it's Shopify or whatever it might be, most of them are Shopify. There's a halo effect. Like as they make noise outside of the marketplace, some people, they got their shampoo in the cart at Amazon. So then they go throw in your product too. They go search for it and add it to cart, which is great because the whole business is growing. Like a rising tide lifts all boats. But you start securing and like hedging your bets that you have your own brand, your own platform that you control. And then I know people who started on Shopify, blew up their business. And the minute that they threw their stuff on a marketplace like Amazon, like that just absolutely took off. So either way you kind of look at it, you have to have your own little place in the world, in the little e-commerce world.
Agreed. Okay. So what I want to talk to you about today were some of your favorite Shopify apps. And okay, you might think this too. Have you tried a bunch of other shopping platforms online?
I have tried BigCommerce.
Okay.
And I have experience with like Magento.
Yes.
Back in the day. But I haven't really experimented a whole lot. No. I mean, and obviously use ClickFunnels for like, promotions and stuff.
So I love Shopify because of all the apps, whereas some of the other ones don't have as many apps or it's limited or things like that. We are not we're not employees of Shopify.
Yeah, that's a great point.
At all.
Exactly.
At all. We just chose a platform that really works and has been able to scale our businesses. So that's why we're talking about Shopify specifically and the apps, is because there are specific ones in there that can help to grow your business. So Brian, I'm just going to let you talk. Just tell us.
No, tell us okay. So here's the thing. I wanted to, I'm so excited about my notes. Okay. So we want to put structure around this because this is the main thing. It's like, you got to avoid with the apps. There's so many, there's like 3,000 apps in the app store. And it's like, it's like candy, like, cause they do such a good job with the icons and the write-ups, right? You're like, oh, that's going to help. And that's going to help. And that's going to help. We have to be very systematic about how we choose our apps. So there's an idea that Jay Abraham used to talk about called the law of geometric growth. And there's like only 3 ways to grow your business. And I actually think there's a 4th that we need to include. So basically the only 4 ways, what Alison and I'll say, to grow your business are leads. So you got to get new leads into your business and you have to nurture those leads. The second way is conversion rate. So how many people are buying? So you got these leads or this audience you've built. How many of them are buying? That's the second. So your audience, how many are buying? How much are they spending when they buy? So their average order value. And how often do they come back and buy again and again and again? And that's your LTV or long-term value and the frequency. So those are like your 4, we call them power levers. Think of them as these 4 pillars in your business. And if you just focus on that, building your audience or your leads, getting people to buy more often, getting to spend more when they buy, and getting them to come back and buy over and over and over again. If you just focus on that, you're gonna like your chances of success go through the roof. Like, because everyone else is chasing shiny objects and ideas, but they have to directly influence one of those 4 things. So the apps that we're recommending, we choose them because we've tested them and they directly impacted one of those 4 areas. So that's why there's like structure to this. So we're not just like, oh, this one's really cool and we heard other people liked it. No, these are things we've actually tested with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sellers, and they definitely impact those 4 areas. So,
this is so fun. This is like Christmas morning.
so,
first present, present number 1.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the, how many do we have here? It's like the 17 days of Christmas. Okay. So, number 1, and some of these repeat, they go into a couple of different buckets. So number 1 is leads. Let's start with getting leads into your business. So the number 1 thing you need is and I would consider this an app, even though I guess you could say it's like a software, but it does plug into the back end, is you do need, your email service. Like, what are you using for email?
Yes.
There's a lot of options out there. And I'm yet to find something better than Klaviyo. That's what we use. I know e-commerce companies that are using, all the other ones, like everything you could think of, from ActiveCampaign. I actually have a client, or a student in our program. I mean, he does, like, depends the season, but it's multiple millions a year. He uses Infusionsoft, and that's what he uses. I don't know why, but that's what he uses. That's what he likes to use. Like, Klaviyo though is the best. In our experience for e-commerce, it's amazing. The level of like ninja stuff you can do when you really start mastering it. It's simple that everyone can use, but the ninja stuff you can do, like you can really customize how you communicate with different levels of customer based on how often they spend, how much they spend. And the segmentation is pretty incredible. So that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is acquiring new leads, right? Getting people into your pipeline. You need something that gives you like pop-up functionality. So we use OptiMonk, just because I don't know about you, Alison. Let me know. Like, do you like things that are all in one because they're more convenient, or do you like your things sort of separated, like your apps and your like services?
No, I like convenience. Give me convenience.
Yeah, you're like all in one. If it's like one thing where it does it all. Yeah. Yes.
Don't spread it out. Let's keep it simple.
Yeah. So I'm the other way. Like, so I guess we have to clarify. Like, if I'm going to the grocery store, give it to me all in one spot, right?
But if I want a specialist, then I want different. I want people that are really good with that thing. So I guess we had to clarify on what.
Sorry, it was a trick question. I get nervous. I guess I've had so many frustrating experiences when like one thing does it all, one tool.
Agreed. Okay. I'm totally, yes. No, when we're talking about tech, go to the expert of that piece of tech. Like, that's why I go to Shopify, is because they're the expert at e-commerce.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't build WooCommerce. I had a WooCommerce on WordPress, but it was so frustrating because they're not the expert in e-commerce. So you go to the specialist. Yes, absolutely.
So that's why I like Optima, because people are like, but wait, like there's one, I'll put it out there because I know some of the members in our community have put it out there. I think it's called Viral, and it's like 40 apps in one. And maybe you go check it out. I don't know. But my experience with all-in-one type packages like that is they're like decent at a lot of things, but not great at anything.
Agreed.
And one thing breaks and the support isn't there. And I know nothing about this company. I'm just saying, in my experience, all-in-one platforms tend to not do that great. I'd rather pay a little bit more, but have like the specialist in pop-ups. Like, that's just what they do. OptiMonk, in our experience, has great customer support. I mean, I've reached out to them and they've come into our account and built the pop-up for us. When we have a question, like an all-in-one isn't going to do that.
Do you know, I think you were there when Russell Brunson told us, he's like, when you go out and try and find things for your site, it's like if your kid were to break a bone, you don't just go to the general practitioner, you go to a hand expert who understands children's bones, because you want the best of the best for your child, and you're willing to pay a little bit more because that's all that he studies. He's not studying the common cold or I don't know, whatever else.
Yeah, not being like a generalist, like knowing enough to be able to say that looks like a cold, that looks like the flu, that looks like a broken bone. that's good to like diagnose, but like if you're going to work on it, I want the
best of the
expert
best
at that thing.
Yeah. In e-commerce, listeners, we want you guys to have the best of the best.
Exactly. That's why we're doing this. So we use OptiMonk. Klaviyo, interestingly enough, does have a pop-up function that it can use, but it doesn't allow you like the level of customization. Like OptiMonk, we can get down to the colors that we use. I mean, it's just, it really is amazing. And we've had a lot of success with it. So that's what we use for that. It's a way that you can acquire leads into your pipeline. So now that first pillar of those 4, we start building that audience.
Nice.
So that's all I got on the lead side. All the other stuff's like in the making money side.
Well, I think that's the first thing is people are like, how do I get customers? Well, you can get a lot of customers, but if you can't hold your customers, it's not worth anything.
So true.
So you've got to be able to have a place for emails to go.
And Alison, what I would say, even just remind everyone is before you decide, obviously we do a lot with Facebook ads and just ads in general. Like that's kind of our expertise is like driving traffic. And that part's really sexy. And everyone's like, all right, I'm going to launch my store and we're going to start running ads. Yeah. Pump the brakes. Let's get at least, you don't have to master these 4 pillars and all these apps and have them all, but at least have some of this stuff in place so that we get the most. We plug some of the leaky holes in the bucket before we start pouring the water, like the traffic into the bucket with a bunch of holes all over the place. So before you decide you're going to run a bunch of traffic, even before you go get your deals and go to deal sites and all that, have some of this stuff in place so that we can maximize the return on what's coming.
Yes. The email list, it's your ATM. It'll always be your ATM.
It's amazing how still in 2020, 2021, email of all the shiny objects, that's the moneymaker.
It is. And it's so funny how people tend to fight that one the most. And are like, no, I need to get a whole bunch of Instagram followers.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Exactly.
You can, but if you want to make real money in your business, it really is in the list building. It's in your email.
Yeah. It's amazing. If you're listening and you're like, but I send emails, there's a critical mass. There's a point. I was telling someone this yesterday. It's not like one email, $1 more, one email, $1 more. It doesn't work that way. There's like, it's nothing. And then there's like, pop. It's just like, all of a sudden there's like this critical mass where suddenly, whoa, my email made money. And then it makes money. And then there's like another step. And so keep at it basically is like,
yes,
it'll start working. It'll start working.
Yep.
Cool. Do we want to go to the next?
Yes.
Pillar? Okay. The next pillar is conversion rate. Am I going too slow? I can go faster.
No, this is so good. And I hope you guys are writing notes like mad because this is gold. So thank you for sharing.
Oh, and I had a few, I missed a little corner of my notes. All right. A couple things. So we want to clarify, this is not inclusive of all the apps you're going to need or all the apps that we're saying a store has. So it's not inclusive, so that you can definitely have others. And you don't need all of these. Like we were saying, you can just start with a few of them. Some of them might not apply to you, especially when I get to the LTV side. But we're just putting them out there for you. And alternatives do exist. So again, we don't work for any of these companies, but alternatives are out there. So feel free to test it out. The biggest thing is that you have the functionality, right? That you have this covered, and these are the ones we recommend. All right. So conversion rate. So now we got to get people to actually buy. Remember, we got an audience, we got leads. How do we get more people to actually convert and buy? So number one is, where do I want to start? Here, let's start with review options, like review apps. One that we've been using and is getting more and more popular in our community is Loox, Loox. And what I like about it is it incorporates images into the review. So it prompts the reviewer to upload an image. So what ends up happening is at the bottom of your page, it looks really cool because the testimonials are in there, but then you have all these pictures of people that's already baked in. And we all know how important social proof is for getting people to convert. So you're getting like a 2-for-1. You're getting the image and the testimonial. And even if people don't read them, just seeing pictures, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not the first person to buy this. So it must be okay. I'm not going to get ripped off, Okay.
So we've used another app called Judge Me. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah. Judge.me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love that one. But what if we want to move over to looks? Would we lose? Do you think it would lose all those reviews?
I'm not sure. I've never tried to migrate from one to the other.
That'd be interesting because the pictures would be amazing. But
it's so cool.
I mean, if you got 500 reviews,
you don't want to
giving
lose
that up.
Yeah. If you already have a review, like, I mean, check it out. That's where I wonder if like a company like this, again, this is one of the benefits of having, it does one thing. It's not the all-in-one. Is like if they will help you with that. If there's a way that they'll help you migrate it over, it might already do it. My feeling is, again, I haven't gone through the process, so I don't want to talk about things that I don't know about. My feeling is like they do migrate over because nobody starts with no reviews. Like it's very rare that you start with no software, no apps. So for you to be competitive in this space, like you have to have a way to like migrate over.
That makes sense. Okay, good. Ooh, good. That was a good one.
That one I like a lot. Yeah, we've been definitely seeing a bump. And by the way, all of this stuff, we are like super data. Remember that whole long, boring backstory about my life? There was like that little math degree part and the actuary part. So if you don't know what an actuary is, no, I didn't take care of birds.
And that's what it sounds like.
I know,
every time you say that.
Actuaries are, they're like, they use like math and numbers and stuff to try to predict the future. See how cool I made that sound?
You are cool, Brian. You are cool.
Yeah. That's why I come on. Okay. So, but basically we look at the numbers and all this stuff. We want proof. This isn't gut feel. Like we actually run tests to see, is there a significant impact on, in this case, conversion rate? And yes, we're seeing that this Looks app seems to be helping a lot.
And then I'm just going to put a little thing in there. I think sometimes as business owners, we get too emotional about it.
Yeah.
If a product doesn't sell, we're like, oh, the world hates me. No, it doesn't. The world doesn't even know who you are. The world might just not like your pictures or not like your offer, or you're selling to the wrong crowd. And so I think the reminder of this really is a numbers game and not an emotional game we just have to be, we just constantly drill that into our head.
So
it doesn't
true.
work. It's not you. It's something else. Now figure out what it is. It's just the numbers game.
If there's it's great, probably one of the best pieces of business advice I got is, and we were kind of talking about this too, Alison, but as business owners, we have to set up an environment where we can measure and think. Like the more that we can measure, not gut feel. Gut feel, I know a lot has been talked about, about gut feel of business people, but if we can measure things, so we can actually look at it objectively, not subjectively, right? Objectively, and just be like, is this working? Is this not? Where is it failing? Pick out the spot and then think about how do we improve that, or think about how do we make that even better. If we can do more of that, and we can't do it all the time because we're busy and we have lives and we're running a business, but if we can find time to do that, that's when we start seeing that exponential kind of growth and like business starts to take off. So,
numbers are good. It's not like this scary geometry.
Yeah, it's not like algebra.
No.
It's like arithmetic is what it is. Yeah.
It's like 1 + 2 equals, or 1 + 1 = $2 in your bank account.
Exactly.
Type of math. That's what we like.
Exactly. So yeah, Looks. Another one that I don't know if you've talked about, Alison, but it's gotten so much popularity. Definitely we've seen impact is one of the payment apps where you can split up payments. So the most popular one and the one that we use is Afterpay.
Okay.
Another alternative that we have folks in our community using is Klarna with a K, Klarna. So those are the two. I think there's a ton of them out there now. Afterpay, I think, was the first one. They were out of Australia. I think they actually just went public, and they're like,
I'm so glad you added that, because after payment plans for even like a $30 shirt, it's going to change. It's going to change the numbers and the conversions.
So we heard, check this out. To me, this was fascinating. This goes back to that like psychographics of your buyer and all this. Yesterday on one of our coaching calls, one of our sellers said, one of my growing referral traffic sites. So this is traffic for everyone listening. This is sites that are referring traffic to your website and are converting to your store. Okay. Is Afterpay. And I was like, that's weird. Like, do you have an affiliate relationship? They're like, no, we're just featured on their site as a business that accepts Afterpay. So think about this. There's literally people that are going to the Afterpay website looking through who will let me pay only 25% and I can buy now. And it might be, maybe it's driven by the holidays. People are looking to sort of kind of spread their money out or whatever it is. But to me, that's fascinating, right? Like you would never think, you would think that people get to your site and they're more likely to convert because they can only, they can pay just a fourth of the payment and get the transaction. They're going the other way. They're saying, where can I go where I only have to pay 25% initially?
Oh my gosh. That is so cool.
I thought it was pretty cool. That's
so
amazing.
Cool.
So there is a need for it out there. People like it. So again, we're talking about conversion rate. This is actually going to go into another pillar, but right now we're talking about getting more people to buy and Afterpay or Klarna. And again, there's other alternatives, but check those out. Okay. The other one is if you want to get into the SMS or text messaging side, one app, and there's a lot of them out there. One app that we've had success with is Postscript SMS.
Do you say post or host?
Post.
Okay.
Like post office. So post or like post after. I don't know why it's Postscript, but anyway, post.
We'll take it.
Postscript is the one we've used. Where we've had the most success with it is the abandoned cart. The abandoned cart retrieval rates are through the roof. Well, I was going to pull up, but it's going to take forever for me to pull stuff up. And then, you know what happened, Alison? It'll shut down. My whole computer will shut down right as we're
sometimes tech isn't on our side, Brian.
But I don't want to put a number. I know it's close to like 28 or 29% like retrieval rate on.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's worth a try for sure. And I think more and more that's kind of low hanging fruit. If you've been wanting to try something with text, Postscript, try it. It's super easy to set up. They have tons of templates that you can just click, use. And basically what'll happen is people give their phone number as long as they opt in. They take care of all there's like a lot of rules around texting and stuff. So they're good about that. But again, anyone, if you're listening to this, you review it, obviously make sure that, everything is above board and everything, but that app is pretty popular. So
love it.
Okay. This is a quick one because then I want to save time for the last one on this conversion rate pillar. Something that a lot of people don't think about, a lot of sellers, is page load time. And there is a direct link between how fast your page loads and your conversion rate. And there's something like after your page takes more than every second after 2 seconds to load, decreases your conversion rate. I think it's 25%. So literally if you go from 2 to 3 seconds, your conversion rate drops by 25%. From 3 to 4, another 25%. From 4 to 5, to the point where if it takes 7 seconds, your page will never convert. So you got to be really mindful of that. The one way, kind of low hanging fruit that you can fix this pretty quickly is by compressing your images. So we use Crush Picks and it'll go through your whole Shopify store and compress all your images. You don't lose image quality. And it's the easiest way, the fastest way to speed up load time. See what I did there?
Love it. Oh, that's such a good one. Such a good one. Cause expect here in Puerto Rico, I have to be a little bit more patient because our Wi-Fi is just not the best. So I'm pushing 10 to 15 seconds sometimes. So when anybody can
it's a
give
miracle.
me a site,
It's a miracle anyone makes money out here.
When anybody can get me a site here that I can pull up in under 5 seconds, I'm yeah. So
either that or you make it the most basic site ever, right? Where it's just text.
Just all text, no pictures. But in e-commerce, you can't do that, of course.
Yeah, you need some pictures, right? So that's an easy one. And again, super, super affordable. I think the return on that is pretty, it's pretty easy to make a return on that because it's not an expensive app at all. All right. So the next one for conversion rate, and then we'll finish up with the last two pillars, is a page builder. So this has been huge. We've tested this like crazy. We actually have a whole process of how we build our product pages. We call it the hybrid page because it's a hybrid between a traditional e-commerce page, which is what the Amazons, the Walmarts, the Targets of the world are training our buyers to expect. If you go too far off the farm or whatever, buyers are going to be like, that's weird. Like, what is this? It's just going to look strange to them. There has to be that traditional e-commerce look. Image on the left, title or testimonial, above the price, a big add to cart button, reviews. There's a look that they're used to. But below the fold, so that's on the top of the fold. Below the fold, as they start scrolling down, we do a hybrid. The hybrid is now it's more of like a sales letter, like info product page. So it's a combination of like top looks like an e-commerce page, and then the bottom is kind of, the video or an image and a text block, testimonial call outs, social proof, testimonial videos. Like there's a lot of things we can do to make it convert better. And you need a page builder to do that. So the one that I love is called Shogun, Shogun, but there's a couple of other ones out there, Gem Pages, Pagefly. They all do the same thing. I just happen to like Shogun. These are all really easy editors, drag and drop. What you see is what you get. So if you've used something like ClickFunnels, you'll be able to use these types of apps for sure.
So it's e-com on the top, sales on the bottom.
Yeah, it's like a sales page. So think about when you go to, if you've ever gone to look at a course or something where it's laid out, it looks very different than an e-commerce page. That's what your e-commerce page will look like on the bottom. But at the top, it's like traditional.
Love it.
E-commerce. Yeah. And that has bumped. We pretty much across the board have rolled that out because it definitely has bumped conversion rates.
So good.
So that's the conversion rate pillar.
Nice.
All right.
I could end right now and be like, woohoo, this is a win.
Yeah. but then everyone's going to be wondering, what about the other two?
I know.
We got them to convert, but like now we got to get them to spend as much as possible and come back over.
That's right. Over again. This is where the real money happens in e-commerce.
Yes. And this is where you got to get this. If you can get some of this going, it's going to make your ads and your traffic and everything else so much better. So, all right, let's go through these quickly. AOV, average order value. This is how much people spend. So just a quick review. We have our audience, our number of leads that we're nurturing to maybe one day buy. That's pillar one. Pillar two is how often, what's our conversion rate? Are they becoming customers? Are we getting them to buy? Now we're talking about how much are they spending when they buy? Because if we can maximize that, it has a huge impact on our business. So average order value, or how much are they spending when they purchase? Klarna and Afterpay. Again, because, and Alison, you pointed this out, people who would have spent $30, they're like, oh, I only have to pay 25%. Now, why don't I just throw in the additional thing, right?
Yep.
So now that $30 average order value goes to $40. Mm-hmm. Or even if it's $37, you do that at scale, that extra $7 is a lot of money in your pocket. But I'll tell you, it usually is more than $7. People add a lot of stuff to their cart. So that's a repeat. Now here's one, Alison. I don't know if you've heard of this one. I was excited to share this one with you. APO, or advanced product options.
No, I haven't.
So we've been testing this one, and it is amazing, especially if you have a product that is kind of complex in terms of like the things you can add on. So one of our students has a basic product, like not basic, but it's a standard product that they sell, and it has different items in it. Okay, I just want to protect their like brand and stuff, but it comes in a box and it has different products in it. But you can add on products into that box. You can also upgrade the quality of the products that are in the box. So there's like all these options that you can do to the same thing. So imagine you have this phone, but you can have a better screen and the case, and it comes preloaded with certain apps, but you can add on new apps. So think of like all the ways that we can upgrade this one product. That's where advanced product options is amazing, because it's all these drop downs. So think of it as like a bunch of order bumps, but you go down and you add them on.
That's so great.
It's awesome. And especially we have one other student. He sells display cases, and they're like the most customizable display case for like footballs and, collectibles and books and stuff. You can customize the risers, the platform, the background, the shell, like there's 700 combinations of what you can do. And there's up charges for all these things. So this app is incredible for them because they can add, right? They can add as you're buying, you'd be like, oh, I want the upcharge for this riser and this bolt or whatever. So just as an example, I want to put a number out there. Average order value went from $30, which is what the base kind of model is, like the cost. The average order value depends. It's between $59 and $63 with APO.
So that doubles your business.
It doubles the AOV in this case. Again, no guarantees on this, but that's like one of the coolest examples we've seen. But it's perfect if you have the ability to like add little nuts and bolts to your product.
Yeah, and I can see some people getting way out of control with that.
Way out of control.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Fulfillment purposes.
And there's a give and take, right? When you first do it, monitor it. Monitor that it's increasing AOV, but also monitor your conversion rate. So see how these start to play on each other. If you get too crazy and you're like, oh, I'm going to blow up AOV, well, you might blow up your conversion rate because people are like, I've had enough of these options. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I haven't heard of that one yet.
Yeah, I was excited. That one, a lot of people don't know about it. So you heard it here first.
Yes.
All these companies, by the way, they're going to be like, what's going on? Why are all these people installing our apps? Okay. The next one is we need something to upsell. So this APO is like upsells, but we want something after they leave that product page. So there was an app we used to use. They made some updates and we'll probably go back to it one day, but for now we've abandoned it because it just started crashing. And that's not good. So we switched over to Honeycomb. So that's the one that we're using now. And basically Honeycomb allows you to upsell products to people during checkout or even after checkout. So basically, you add this pen to your cart. So there's a few places that it'll upsell. It'll upsell on the product page. It'll upsell on the cart page. It can also upsell on the thank you page. So after they completed the purchase.
Oh, like Vista Prints.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Order from Vista Prints. Then they're like, you want another thing? Do you want another thing?
You want another thing? You want another thing? Yeah. Like I just want my 100 business cards.
At a discount of 94%.
Yeah, exactly. So Honeycomb, you'll usually we see about on the low side, a 3 to 5% conversion rate of people that will take the offer that we put in front of them.
Nice.
And you can have multiple ones. So you have to have something to upsell because the bigger we make that average order value, the better the whole system works. All right, last pillar. And then I've got some honorable mentions and then we'll wrap up. All right. LTV, long-term value or frequency. So remember, audience, how many leads do we have? Second, how often are they buying? Or do they buy? Do they convert? When they convert, how much do they spend? And now how often do they buy? How often do they come back over and over and over again? This is probably the most overlooked part of e-commerce and probably any business, right? People get a customer. Woohoo. All right, let's go get a new customer. The best prospect in your business is your existing customer.
Yes.
Do not let them hanging out. Don't leave them hanging out there.
Oh, and this is where bank accounts massively change.
Yes.
And this is where most of the people don't pay attention to. Most business owners don't pay attention to this. They're just like new customer, but new customers cost the most.
They cost
so I'm so glad that you're
6 times more, it's so much more. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like hanging your head in shame because it's you're not alone. You would be shocked at the numbers that we see. Businesses that are doing massive numbers and you break it all down. You're like, all right, let's look at the back end. What are we doing to reconvert people? And it's like nothing. But when they do that, they turn it on and like, oh, business magically grows by 40%, So,
That's right.
So this is huge. All right. So LTV or frequency, Klaviyo, email marketing. We already mentioned it, so I won't go into it, but whatever you're using to, collect your leads, this is obviously where you're going to go to remonetize those leads. This one might come as a little bit of a surprise, and there's probably better options out there. And I know this whole space has suffered in 2020 because of demand and everything. But if you find yourself that you're like, I don't have that many products. So I get it. I get the idea, but I only have a couple things. Like, how do I sell more stuff? Well, first, try to find more stuff to sell. That's huge. But if you want a quick fix, you may consider a print on demand like Printful to incorporate some easy products into your product line. So we have a client that does this where they have 70 SKUs, but when they started, they had 2. And they're like, how do we build out our product line so we can reconvert people? Like they already bought our, Bluetooth mouse. This not a Bluetooth mouse, but they already bought this thing. Like they don't need another one. Mm-hmm. So we added on a print on demand, and at least it was something that we could now start promoting on the back end to our customers.
Yes. Yeah. Love it. Love it.
And then the other one, favorite app, is if you can find any way to get MRR, monthly recurring revenue, into your business, it will change your life. And the app we use to monitor that is Recharge. Yeah. So it's what allows you to do a subscribe and save. It's what allows you to do a monthly membership. One of our students, she has it's in the craft space, and
I've interviewed her. Go back and listen. It's Wendy. Go back and listen to that podcast episode.
That's awesome. So you build up a subscriber base, and it is incredible. When you start day 1 of the month, and it doesn't matter if you sell anything else, you know that X number of dollars are coming in because you've got this recurring revenue. It is an amazing foundation for your business. So anyway, whether it's digital, whether it's physical products, you can get something to recur revenue in your business. It's a huge competitive advantage. So
agreed. And it was so fun. Wendy actually sent me a message the other day. And she said, Alison, I had my biggest November in the history of ever. Yeah. And just to sit with her for that moment was so fun to see, because I started with her when she first spilled her glitter everywhere and wanted to quit and wanted to walk away. And that was the thing that actually made her stand out and become so unique. And then I watched her build and build and build. That was a really fun moment. So
that's so cool. I love it. It is awesome. Like, it is awesome to see the transformation, like especially how quickly people go through it. And all of a sudden they're business people. They went from not even knowing if they could do it to like full on like business people. It's amazing. I love it.
And you think about college, right? Like people go for a 4-year transformation, which you end up in so much debt. In business, you can really change your life.
Yes.
In 6 months to a year, like completely transform your life, and you're not in debt. You've made more than what you would have spent in college. That's right. And I love this business game.
And especially this e-commerce game right now. We are entering the future. I mean, it's so exciting. What's happening?
It's the add to cart year, 2021.
That's right. It's the add to cart year.
I'm calling it.
Cha-ching. All right. So those are the 4 pillars. I have a few honorable mentions, and then I will wrap.
Okay, this is so good.
Okay, honorable mentions. Because these won't apply to everyone, but some things you can try. So one is Bonjoro. Have you ever heard of Bonjoro, Alison?
I'm writing it out and I know it.
So Bonjoro.
Okay.
And I would say this falls into the LTV or frequency bucket. Remember the 4 buckets. This is the 4th bucket. It allows you, and I wouldn't do this for all customers, but it allows you to record. So it's an app. It goes into Shopify and it also goes on your phone. And you can trigger it for certain products. So let's say the one client that I know of that uses this, they sell corporate packages. So they have retail stuff, but they also sell corporate. So a big corporate client could be worth, 10 grand to them, right? So if a corporate order is placed, Bonjoro, what it'll do is it'll send a notification for them. You can customize this however you'd like. And you can record a video, and I can just say, hey, what's going on, Alison? I just saw that you became a client and we are so excited to have you. We can't wait to just take care of you, your business and everything. It's going to be awesome. Check out, we're sending an email to you to confirm everything. Look it up if you have any questions, blah, blah, blah. So you can do like a personalized message. You click the button, it sends it to them. That's it. Takes you 30 seconds. And you talk about an outstanding customer experience. Like what brand ever does that, right?
So I used one called BombBomb.
Yep.
BOMB. Yeah. So this is just another one.
Just another one. Yeah.
It is amazing customer service.
It's
And
amazing.
it takes 2 seconds to do.
Yeah, exactly. So that one, Recart is another. We don't use it as much as we used to, but it's still pretty popular. I would say this falls into the conversion rate bucket, and it also falls under the leads bucket because so buckets 1 and 2, because Recart is all Messenger. So Facebook Messenger, it's cart abandonment for Facebook Messenger. It's follow-up. You basically, it allows you to build up your Facebook Messenger leads, like audience. So it's still popular. We don't use it as much, but one to look out for. Honorable mention.
I feel like 2018 was the year of Messenger.
Yeah.
And 19 it was a little sketchy just because Facebook's locking it down a little bit more.
Exactly.
I totally think it works. You have to have Messenger on. It's just not going to be the 2018.
I think that we were all excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Allison, we were all like, what? We can like be like cart abandon, like all this other stuff. And then, like you said, the restrictions, a lockdown, which were good because some people just abused it. Like you were supposed to send one promo within a certain period. And I would get promo after promo after promo after promo. And it irritates people. And Facebook, I think, got freaked out because it's like, it was messing up their ecosystem. So I think it was a good idea. Again, try it, but that's why it goes in the honorable mention category. Yeah. Referral candy. So this is one we've toyed around with. I don't have a lot of experience with it, so I'm definitely not the expert on it. But we're messing around with an affordable way to have a referral program because some of the bigger like referral platforms are super expensive. So referral candy, we're toying with it. We're getting, we're seeing a little bit of a bump in sales from people referring other people. This obviously goes into the leads and conversion rate buckets because it's new leads into your business if people refer people and potentially new sales that you wouldn't have had. So definitely this is a bucket that or a category that you want to be thinking about. Not as important as the stuff we talked about up top or at the top of the show, but yeah, that's what we're messing with.
Have you heard of Seco Maps?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to send you that one.
Okay.
I'm loving that one.
Okay.
It's so clear. There's a free version. And so people can get started on it, get comfortable with it. Nice. And I know people that are doing really well and still on the free version.
Okay. That's always good. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I talked to the developers and they're on it. I was super impressed.
Yeah.
Cause I've worked with some others that got a little bit too big for their britches and their customer service isn't there. But this company, I'm like, yes, we've got someone on our side again. So
that's amazing.
I don't know, at least we've been using it for about 5 or 6 months. Super happy with it. So
cool. Yeah, send it over, please.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Because anything that works.
I know. And it's cool because they'll do like an MLM. It's not an MLM because we're in e-commerce, right? But it's like an MLM referral program. So if you go out and you find an influencer and you're like, hey, influencer, I'll pay you 10% if you go advertise and sell my product. And then if you find another influencer, I'll give you 10% and then I'll give that other influencer 10%. Yeah. And so you've got these influencers who are going out there and telling their friends
to find influencers because they get a little piece of what that influencer refers.
Yeah.
That's
brilliant. Smart. I know it works. It works so well because we do it over on How Does She?
Yeah,
it works
exactly
so well.
That's awesome.
This is gold. This is like we could package up this podcast here and then sell it for $1 gajillion because this is going to make $1 gajillion.
You will get a return from if you do even part of this because these are again, we've got the data to prove like this stuff makes a difference in your business. And it's why we call these our essential apps. So again, Alison and I, we like coincidentally found this out about ourselves that we are huge fans of the book Essentialism.
Oh my gosh. Number one.
We're applying essentialism to this. Like it's just, we're stripping away, make everything as simple as possible, but no simpler. And this is when you strip it all down to like bare bones, these are the things you need. Definitely these 4 pillars are the things you got to focus on. One thing I want to point out, there's essential apps and there's essential analytics. And even if the word analytics, you're like, what? I don't even know what I'm going to sell yet. If you can make sure that you at least get these 2 things set up, in the future, you're going to be happy you did. Your Facebook pixel, and there's a new way to do it now. You have to go through the Facebook like app inside of Shopify. So make sure you get that set up. It's super easy, but get that done now, even if you don't think you're ever going to run ads ever in your life. Trust me, get it done. You'll be happy you did. And Google Analytics, really easy to set up. Even if you'll never look at analytics dashboard, one day you might, and you're going to be happy that you did this. So get those two things installed. It'll take you, depending on how techie you are, 5 minutes or maybe an hour. You got to look up a few YouTube videos. But the point is, get it done, and you'll be happy you did, and get these other apps in.
Okay. And then can I just tell all of the people in the 0 to 100K system about what you're working on?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. So if you're one of my students right now, Brian is actually going to be creating a video for you in the 0 to 100K system on how to set up your Facebook pixel correctly. I know. We're pretty darn excited about it. We were like, what can we gift our students to just help them out in 2021? Yeah. And Brian is gracious enough to record a video, and we're going to stick it in there for you. So yeah.
I'm super excited because I think all of you, you just have such an amazing opportunity. What's happened, as much as 2020 was like, what a year, on the downside for us that are in the e-commerce space, we've seen the trend, right? The trend every year, retail is down, e-commerce is up, retail is down, e-commerce is up. And we've been riding that wave, and we've known it's just growing. But what happened this year, the way it accelerated, I mean, literally 10x growth, like 10 years of growth in 1 year.
Yep.
That's not a fad. Like, I know we're used to seeing trends and fads and come and go. It was a trend that was already happening, something that was going to happen that just got accelerated. It's not going away. So if there was ever a time to be in this space, it's now. And we're just excited because we're going to help so many of you, like, just accelerate your businesses. So yeah, I'm super excited to put this together for the 0 to 100K group. And I know it's going to help them just crush it in 2021.
Okay. And I'm going to totally put you on the spot. This podcast was so much fun, and you gave so much value that I'm going to ask you to come back on another time.
I would love to. You know, it's so funny. I had to check myself because I could talk about this forever. As I'm talking, in the back of my mind, I was like, no, that you're going down a tangent. Don't do that. Because there was so many little things that I wanted to talk about, like go down deeper down the rabbit hole. So we'll cover some of those then maybe.
Let's do. I love geeking out with e-commerce. And I know if you're listening right now, go leave a review and let us know that you love Brian so we can talk him into coming back on.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, all right. Thanks, Brian. Woo-wee. That was fun. Man, I love to geek out about business stuff. Do you have writer's cramp? Oh, I hope you do. That was gold. What Brian was so generous to give us on today's podcast. Now, if you're brand new and you feel completely overwhelmed, that's okay. Just save this episode and come back to it, because it's all going to make sense one day. When I first started, I didn't even know what an app was. I didn't even know what Shopify was. Oh my goodness. I had no clue what Shopify was. So save this episode or start adding 1 to 2, depending on where you are in your journey. And you're going to see that these apps will help you to be able to create more income in your business. And that's why February, we're dedicating to let's make you more money. Let's get that money in your pocket where it belongs. Okay, so let's go through my top 10 takeaways of this podcast episode with Brian Bowman. All right, number 10, psychographics is actually a word. I didn't know that was a word. I love it. It's a totally geeky term that I now absolutely love for where people, your potential customers, are in their head. So, for instance, if you got old books that you're selling, you maybe don't want to approach Nordstrom's to see if you can get them in their store, right? No. Who buys used books? College students, right? Figure out how you can get them into college students. Get in front of college students to be able to sell your products. All right, number 9. And remember, I work from number 10 all the way down to number 1. So number 9, people, they'll pay a premium for your product. It's not always about reducing the price. Sometimes that premium price I'll pay is for convenience. What can you do to make your product more convenient to your customers? Maybe it's faster delivery. Maybe it's free shipping both ways. What can you do so you don't have to lower your price? You don't need to. All right, now number 8, we're going to talk about the top pillars, starting with gathering leads. So what are the apps that you need to help gather leads? Those are your customers. When they come to your site, how do you keep them? And that is by getting their email. All right, what email do I recommend and what Brian recommends? It's something called Klaviyo. We used it heavily on the Pillow site, and now it's called personalized2.com that we just sold in September. That's the one that we used. We've loved it. It's great. If you're already on another email provider and it's working for you, just stay there. All we're saying on this one is you've got to collect their emails. That's gold. It's your future ATM. It's your future ATM. Then for the pop-ups, Brian recommends something called OptiMonk, OptiMonk. That's the one that he recommends for that. Okay, so now that you've got leads, you've got this email list, what apps, when you drive your customers to your site, what can you do to get them to buy from you, to actually take out their credit card and buy from you? And those apps that he recommends are 100x. I saw that one in action and I was like, what? Where has this one been? It's so beautiful. Another one is called Afterpay, which absolutely recommend that one. Postscript, Crush Picks, totally recommend that one to get your site faster. And another one called Shogun. All right, so now we're going to dive into your customers have bought from you. Now what we want to do is have them buy more. All right, so number 6, that's the get customers to buy more. And you're going to use an app called APO and then another one called Honeycomb. Then number 5, we want to get your customers to buy from you again. Yes, they already love you. They're already obsessed with your product. They're already so grateful that you helped them in the first place. So sell them another product. And what apps can you use for that? Recharge. Recharge is a subscription app. I have people in the 0 to 100K system that use that. Next Level, my insiders use it. It is a great app to use. All right, number 4, all these apps, you're going to see they're going to cost money. And your brain's going to freak out and say, another subscription? Well, if that subscription helps you to make 3 to 4 to 5 more times money, I know I would pay for subscriptions that are like 10 to 20 bucks a month. So think about it that way. These apps, yes, they're going to charge money, but they're going to help make you a lot more money, so they should pay for themselves very quickly. Now, don't add all of them all at the same time. You can start out with 1 or 2. See what happens. Look at your sales numbers. All right, number 2, when you choose plugins, let's say you find another one that you absolutely love. Make sure they're the expert in that specific plugin and not a general store, because you're not going to get the high-level service, the white glove service that you absolutely deserve and need in your business. All right, and then you ready for number 1? I always feel like we need a drum roll at this point. Number 1, I loved it, is no customer list, no business. Just like you guys saw in, when was it, this summer, we tried Amazon and Amazon shut us down. If we did not have our email list, we would have lost the opportunity to sell the business in September because we still were able to create revenue. Build your email list. It's going to be one of the most valuable things in your business to make sales, or if you go on and sell it. Fun stuff. I love geeking out about this. I'm so grateful that Brian opened up and came in. What a special gift that was, because he doesn't do that very often. But he has seen how powerful this group is and the results that they get. And when I started talking to him about Facebook ads and what was going on, he was like, I'll come in. Let me help prep your students so that they don't hit that dang boost. The boost button on Facebook ads. Don't do it. And I'm sure you'll be seeing Brian around a little bit here and there. He's a good friend. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you like that. Let me know in the direct message me or leave a review. Let me know if you like Brian. I'm sure you did. He had a lot of good stuff. And we want to make sure we're supporting you to have your best February that you've ever had. Get out there. It's 2021, the year that I'm terming. Yeah, that sounded weird coming out. The year that I'm terming 2021 as the add to cart year. Go get your customers to add to cart. Put that money in your pocket where it belongs. Why? Because you can. All right, I'll see you next week.